Recording. Hi everyone, it's Pip here with part 3 un deux trois of Pip's Christmas adventure across the Atlantic. And well, it's been a fairly uneventful day, all pretty straightforward. I'm here in the US. The only weird thing that happened, this is weird, I got to the hotel, I was just checking in, and then this guy, this hobo off the street, he kept coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you, can I get you a drink?" And he wouldn't leave me alone, so eventually I just said, "Okay, come on up to my room and give me a drink." And he's here right now, this old random hobo off the street.
You want that beer? You're looking for that beer? Hey everybody! It's me, it's your main man Micah.
It's Micah, which must mean I'm in Bangor, not Bangor, Bangor, Maine, in the great state of Maine in the USA. And Mike is here with me in the hotel room, and it's fantastic. Isn't it wonderful when life works out?
Unbelievable. You called me at about, 11:30 this morning?
Oh, something like that, I guess.
My time, about 11:30 this morning, and I said, "Pip, where are you?" I saw this call coming in with all these strange numbers.
Yes.
It was a UK number, and you said...
It was a Portuguese number, actually.
And you said, "I think I'm in Gander." And I said, "Oh, and where are you going to be?" I said, "I'm coming to Bangor." I said, 2.5 hours? I'll be there. Tell me what time. I walked in the same time you did.
Yeah, just as I was checking in. I mean, what a guy. He's driven all the way up from Portland just to come and see little old me and maybe have a bit of dinner later on. But
absolutely worth it to come see you.
Well, I hope so. Thank you very much. He comes bearing gifts. Now, I'm told... Well, what is this beer, Micah?
It's Lord Hobo's is a brewery, Lord Hobo, and it's Boom Sauce. It's the same beer that I gave to Jeff when he was in here a few weeks ago, actually a couple of months ago, and gave him a 4-pack, and he shared it with Dr. Steph, and he's got one for Nick that hopefully Nick will see sometime, and I figured you guys got to try it too. It's one of my new favorites.
Fantastic. Well, Micah was kind enough to bring me up a 4-pack as well, and I'm not sharing it with Jeff, Nick, or Steph. This is all for me. So we're gonna give it a go. He says it's best in a glass or a plastic Hilton coffee cup.
It's got a good nose on it, an interesting flavor.
Oh, it really has. Oh, it's fresh, very fresh.
And that's my phone ringing, which I will turn off.
Now, I'm not being rude. I've offered Micah some, but he's declined on account of having to drive back later on. So he's got his Hilton gardening
decaf
coffee.
with me.
So, to your good
Cheers.
health, Micah. Let's try this. Oh, that's different.
Isn't it unusual?
That is different. That's quite strong.
It's got a little fruit flavors in it, but it's very strong.
Oh,
it's
it is,
about
yeah.
8-9%.
Yeah.
And
Now that's a very American style IPA to my mind. Our English IPAs are much, well, they're not fizzy for a start. They're flat and they're much milder. But this is good. I'm enjoying this.
Well, I thought I'd bring you something unusual and uniquely American.
Oh, that's lovely. Well done. Thank you, sir.
Merry Christmas.
And to you as well.
Thank you.
Right. Well, let's not wrap it on. Let's bring you up to date. So this is day 3 of my little trip, and it was fairly uneventful. We started this morning in Prestwick in Scotland, a fairly early start, and we headed up for the relatively short flight, 2 hours, up to Keflavik in Iceland, where the weather was absolutely awful. Just awful. Some of the worst weather I've ever flown in. And ironically, you'll recall from yesterday, they stopped us going up because of the winds or something or other. But the weather was really much worse today. So we got in there in some very heavy snowstorms, freezing cold. We pulled up on the ramp and it just dumped a whole bunch of snow on us. So we were hoping just to get in quickly, refuel, and get on the way. But we ended up having to de-ice and, well, it threw up some challenges. The visibility when we taxied out was so poor. This is classic. This has never happened to me before. We were radar vectored around the apron as we were taxiing. We were giving radar headings to taxi because we just couldn't see a thing. The aprons were covered with about, I don't know, so much snow, total whiteout. We couldn't see anything. So the controller there said, "Well, look, just head north, and I'll do my best to keep you safe." So a few times I had to shout, "Whoa, go left!" as a great big snowbank appeared out of the murk. And, we were pretty tight on fuel for the crossing from Keflavik to Gander, so we didn't want to waste too much. So we got to the runway, and they were still sweeping it. So all the time the engines are running and the fuel's slowly being burnt off. But the braking actions were pretty poor. They were hovering around the 0.25 mark, which below that is poor braking action. 0.25 and below is poor. And for us, that's a no-no. We can't do that. And the wind was kind of coming across the runway, which doesn't help matters. So we were thinking, oh, crumbs, we're burning fuel here. If we're going to have to wait 30 minutes for the runway to get cleared. Of course, all the time that our holdover time on the de-icing fluid is running out. We only had about 30 or 40 minutes of holdover time for the de-icing fluid. They spray on this de-icing fluid onto the wings and the tail, but it has a limited length of effectiveness. As it gets snowed on and rained on, it gets more and more diluted and becomes less effective. So you've got a certain period of time in which you've got to use it. So that was on our minds. But yeah, eventually they swept the runway. The guy with the mu meter, as they call it, on the back of the truck, he did a run down the runway, and he declared it to be poor to medium braking action, which is legal. It's not ideal. It's not ideal at all. But the runway at Keflavik is about 4 million miles long, so it wasn't too bad. So we said, yes, let's go. So we blasted off across the Atlantic for I think it was about a 4.5 hour flight to Bangor. Luckily, we got cleared up to level 400, which is rather handy because initially we were filed at level 280, and down there we're burning much more fuel, and that would have just been a real headache. So we got up to a high altitude, which really helped things along. But as Micah was just saying, there were strong headwinds across the Atlantic with this storm that's recently moved through. So we were battling 100-knot headwinds, so our ground speed was pretty low.
So you went from Keflavik to Gander?
Keflavik to Gander, yeah.
Okay. And then did you refuel in Gander?
We refueled in Gander, that's right, yeah. Yeah, we didn't quite have the legs to get all the way down here. The Falcon that was with us, they just came straight to Bangor, yeah. The Falcon 2000.
Oh, the Falcon.
The two Hawkers, we both went to Bangor. We got slightly different routings, actually. So we ended up... They had a much harder time. The other Hawker was stuck down at level 330 or something like that, I think, and they were having a torrid time getting through the headwinds. But it all worked out in the end. But I've got to say, it was beautiful up there, coming across the coast of Greenland. Trade Descriptions Act. It is not green. It is very much white and covered in snow, but it was just gorgeous. I took some pictures, which hopefully I'll edit into this video when I stitch it all together. But it was lovely, seeing icebergs floating around on the water, and all the beautiful fjords and valleys and the mountains. Greenland is a really hilly place, very mountainous. The hills there go up to 11,000 feet. Quite a beautiful, beautiful place. And then across, in fact, I got my North Atlantic plotting chart. These are sort of company-specific charts. These are huge scale. You can't quite see this, but you've got pretty much all of North America on one side, Europe on the other, and this is all the North Atlantic oceanic airspace. Let me see if I can just hold up the little bit that I used. Oh yeah, you can see that. That's quite nice. So here we go. We started over... Here we go, in Iceland, and you can see the blue line that I've drawn is the line we followed with various times and other bits of information. So we got across there. We were filed from there across here and then down, rather bizarrely, but quite luckily we got a nice shortcut across that way. So that saved us a little bit of time. But that was good fun. It's not something I often get to do, this oceanic stuff, all working with the HF radios and all the procedures for Atlantic crossings. It was good fun. I had to read up a little bit, remind myself of some of the things, made a few fumbles and mistakes and things on the radio on the way across, but hey, that's all part of the fun. It was a good learning experience too. So did that, and then we hit the coast of Canada. Oh, Canada. Very nice, very snowy, an awful lot of not much. Wilderness, snow, lakes, beautiful thing. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So we jumped into Gander. Just a very quick stop, probably 45 minutes refueled. Again, had to de-ice because the weather was, it was kind of snowing and it was really clinging to the wings. And then the short flight, I say short flight, 2 hours from Gander down here to Bangor. Very uneventful, but it's great to be here. We landed. Not too many hassles at immigration. They were met by a very nice immigration lady. She was very pleasant. She got us through very expeditiously. And then we jumped in the crew bus, or the hotel bus. And now this is where I haven't told you this bit yet, Micah. This is where the fun almost happened. We were on the bus, on the Hilton bus from the airport to here. It's about a 20-minute drive. And just as we got to the hotel, we got an email. We get these automatic emails when hotels and things are booked for us. And it said, you're booked to the Sheraton Hotel. And we're like, no, hang on, we're at the Hilton. What's going on? And the Sheraton's all the way across the other side of town. So we phoned up and said, hey, what the heck's going on here? We're at the Hilton, and now it says the Sheraton. And they said, oh, yeah, it's the automatic system. I don't know what it does. It recognised a cheaper price somewhere else and therefore has booked you into the Sheraton. So we were not amused, to say the least. So the conversation went something along the lines of, we've just flown halfway around the world. We're already at a 14-hour day. Book us the Hilton Hotel right now.
And it's not that there's anything wrong with Sheraton. You were just already on your way here. And
we were here. We were in reception.
Oh.
We were almost booking in, and the guy was trying to find my name, and he said, "No, I can't find you."
That's what was happening when I walked in.
That's what was happening when you walked in. So one of us was on the phone, Well, it's better that he was on the phone because I wouldn't have kept my temper. I would have said, "Look, here's the story. Book us the Hilton, or you can forget tomorrow's flight. We'll call him fatigued, and that'll be that."
Oh, am I glad I brought you the beer now? You
yes.
Need that. Cheers.
So yeah. So that little escapade got cleared up fairly quickly. And now, so I just ran up, had a quick shower. I'm all refreshed. I got my Farnborough t-shirt on. Mike is looking radiant, as always.
Oh,
and
thank you.
And we're going to go and find something to eat. Are you hungry?
Yeah, I think it's time to have breakfast.
Breakfast? I'm not. It could be breakfast. In fact, for me, it's... What time is it for me now? It's just gone 10 p.m., which means it must be just gone 5 p.m. local.
Correct.
Something like that? Yeah. Okay, so it's time for dinner. So I say, when in Rome, have a lobster or something like that.
I checked with the front desk. He said, I'm from 130 miles away, so I don't know the restaurants up here, but I checked with the front desk, and he recommended a place that I've never been to, but says they probably may have seafood still at this time of year.
Ooh.
So we can try that.
Oh, it's quite seasonal, is it? The lobsters and seafoods and things?
In the summer, you get lobster that you can't get anyplace else because it's soft shell. They molt, and they can't really transport the soft shell lobsters.
Oh, I see.
But the wintertime, there'll certainly be lobsters around, but they'll be hard shell, the same as if you were having them back home and they were imported there, because they're not quite. Soft shells are a little sweeter.
Okay. Well, I'm very inexperienced when it comes to lobsters, but hey, steak and such fare is equally as good. So let's see what we can find. It's kind of dark now. Actually, it's pretty cold here. It was -3, I think, when we landed. It was snowy and Christmassy, and flying over the main countryside actually was just gorgeous. It brings back memories of the time I spent here in '98. These hills and mountains and lakes.
Right past Mount Katahdin, which is the highest point on the East Coast. Well, the second highest point on the East Coast.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah.
I thought Mount Washington was
Mount
the highest.
Washington is the very highest.
Okay.
Mount Katahdin is, I believe, the second highest.
Okay. Yeah, it was lovely. And then tomorrow's plan, it should be relatively straightforward. We just a single flight from here to Wichita in Kansas. Now, unfortunately, we can't click our heels together and just magically appear. The Hawker doesn't do that. But,
no refueling?
Oh, we refueled already.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to refuel on the way.
No.
Make the whole trip in one stop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And what time do you have to be
It's going to be fairly early. I think we're going to get a pickup at about 6 or 7 a.m.
Okay.
From here to go to the airport, and then we just jump on and off we go, because the guys have got airlines to catch tomorrow afternoon, whereas I'm going to just go to the hotel in Wichita and have my 24 hours eating steaks, going to upmarket bars, a bit of shopping, firing. I'd love to do that. I just want to do it. I just want to shoot some guns. I don't know if I'll get time to do that, but I'd certainly like to do a little bit of shopping, see if I can find something for the kids.
And you may have a surprise return trip that you'll talk about later, I assume.
I'm going to talk about it right now.
Oh, okay.
So I mentioned, now this is kind of a bittersweet thing, I suppose. It's got a nice silver lining, potentially. So originally I was booked on the BA flight from Dallas to go back to London, business class, so I'd reserved myself an upper deck seat on the 747, which I've never done before. I'd love to do the upper deck of the 747. But, alas, that has now changed because we're now running a day late, and the flights, surprise, surprise, on the 23rd of December are uber expensive. I don't know exactly what rates we're getting, but the advertised rates are about £6,000. It's probably about $7,000 for a business class ticket, so they're really expensive. So understandably, the company are very keen to find the cheapest flights possible. So I'm not going on the BA flight, is the short end of this story. Instead, what I'm doing, I'm taking a flight with one of the American airline... No, with Delta. Ever heard of them? Delta Airlines?
Yeah, I understand they're very good.
Yeah? Oh, really?
I've heard they're very good.
Okay.
You know, they code share with another airline that I've heard is good, which is Virgin Atlantic. And, so I heard they were okay too. And if they code share with them,
Well, we'll see. So I'm going to Atlanta with Delta Airlines, and then I've got an 8 or 9 hour wait in Atlanta, and then getting on another Delta Airlines flight back to Heathrow on Friday night, did I say? What's today? Wednesday?
23rd, yes.
23rd. Delta Airlines back. Now, I'm scratching my head. Do we know anyone in Atlanta?
Let me think. I think I met somebody in Farnborough from Atlanta. Who was that?
Susan. No, that was something else.
No, that was...
Oh, that guy with the white hair and that fake moustache.
Yeah, and something... I think he flies for another airline. I think he flies something about a dog.
That's right, Dog Airlines.
Yeah, Mad Dog Airline.
Acme, that's
Captain
him.
Jeff, that's
right.
right.
Oh, I remember
Captain
that guy. That Captain Jeff guy. He lives in Atlanta.
That's right, he does.
I wonder, Captain Jeff, if you're out there. Ooh. Well, I'm just joking around, but if anyone, Captain Jeff or anyone else, happens to be passing through Atlanta Airport on Friday afternoon, then send me a message and come and have a beer or lunch or dinner or whatever. I think my flight out of Atlanta is about 7 p.m. if I remember correctly. I'd have to check.
So you'd have to be back at the airport by 4:30, 5 o'clock in order to check in.
Yeah, something like that. Or maybe if someone's passing through the airport, someone who regularly passes through the airport wants to stop and have lunch, but. Well, we'll see. It might be a nice little bonus, but anyway. So I need to get onto the Delta Airlines website and reserve my business class seat. I think they use a 767 for that route. I've not checked yet, but I think it's a 767.
Very
unfortunately,
comfortable.
Yeah, it doesn't have an upper deck.
No, but it could be worse. It could be an Airbus with an upper deck. So.
Ooh, I would love that. Can you imagine? Well, no, not for me this time. Maybe next time. Well, I guess that's it for the time being. I don't know if I'll probably record another one of these, a fourth part, just to tie it all up, and then I'm going to kind of stitch it all together and make it a nice, presentable little thing. But otherwise, for now, I think it's time to go eat. So we'll see you all again tomorrow. So from from Bangor in Maine, in the USA, I'm going to say, see you later. And from this guy,
adios. It's great to be here.
Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye. Mwah.